So welcome for practice this morning. I'd like to set this practice into 3 sections. We'll be exploring the 6 stations of the mind and polyvagal theory together. To prepare for that, let's take a comfortable, quiet seat, please. You can rest your hands in your lap. You're welcome to close your eyes. We always use centering to prepare for our practice. It's also ideal when preparing for integrating various sources of knowledge into an understandable and embodied whole. So rest your hands in your lap, lengthen up through your spine. Drop down into your hips and your pelvis. And then welcome your breath to guide you back home to the present. Your breath is like your personal GPS system. Allow the inhale to drop down into the pelvic basin. Welcome your mind to go there with it. And welcome the exhale, which is also in the low pelvis. And gradually increase the tone of the exhale without any additional coercion or force at the end of the exhale. And see if a gentle inhale-exhale pattern can help you to feel more grounded, more present, more stable. That's why I say it's your personal GPS system. To feel more grounded, more present, more stable. About 5 more breath cycles. So if you can keep your mind concentrating on the inhale sensation, the gentle pause, the exhale sensation, and the gentle pause. Can you concentrate for 4 more breaths consecutively without your mind departing from the invitation? Any sense of rushing and no sense of a false kind of slowness. So just breathing in, breathing out. notice if you feel any bit more grounded, like even a glimpse of feeling more grounded, and like a little peephole of feeling more present. You have any better sense of stability in the present moment. Okay, so with the 6 stations of the mind, if you think of yourself as sitting in the center of a teeter-totter, and this one has 3 limbs like this, and they balance each other. So in the center of this teeter-totter, when you're looking forward, back, left, right, and then on the diagonal, so you've got them balanced like 6 slices of pie, for example. You have past and future, self and other, likes and dislikes. Those are the ways in which the mind finds its exit strategy from the GPS. Rather than grounded, present, and stable, it's going hither and thither, here and there. And sometimes it goes there slowly, so slowly you don't realize you're daydreaming. Or so slowly you don't realize that you're having a memory of the past. So slowly you don't realize that you're planning a delicious meal after yoga class. Or so slowly you don't realize, oh God, my sleep last night was so terrible. You're picking up on fragments of the past. Other times it's bouncing pretty quickly, and that can be obvious to us. But meditation is the practice of coming back to the center of that teeter-totter, to be grounded, present, and stable. Now, in terms of fragments of the past and fragments of any of this, these fragments in interpersonal neurobiology are called the implicit river of past impressions. That's my interpretation of this. So an implicit memory storehouse. Implicit means that it's in this river underneath your life, and it's always there, available to push up into the now, and that is called the ever-present now. Right? So things are coming up in the now. It's ever-present. This river is underneath the consciousness of our life. It's like a subconscious river, and memories and sense impressions from the past can push up at any time. They're usually given a portal. Sometimes those portals are pleasant, and sometimes they're unpleasant, punya and apunya. So a pleasant portal is like, oh, you smell pizza, memory of household, memory of Saturday night, watching a certain TV show, making the pizza sauce, making the dough. So I came from a household where that was our Saturday night activity. Memory of pepperoni, comes very strongly, and very positive association with pepperoni, just to be transparent. So it can also be a painful memory, apunya. So memory of a painful experience like chaos or anger or neglect or abuse or loud sounds and people fighting, and you feeling helpless to do anything about that. Also part of my memory field. So in this case, the apunya or the punya, they're in that undercurrent of our life, and they can push up into the now. We call that the ever-present now, because it's ever available for us to be influenced by. In healing, as we say in yoga therapy, healing is understanding that undercurrent and then actually accessing some of that for the purpose of integrating it, so that it becomes, in a way, it becomes resolved as something that has constant friction on you. That which is unresolved will have an ongoing friction in your system. It will be drawing energy away from your primary purpose. And because of that friction, we don't realize that it's there. We have these tensions in the body. We feel them as sensations, painful sensations, tension, or aches and pains in the body. But we may not associate that with the friction of the undercurrent of our life, our history, our conditioning. Sometimes people talk about it as family of origin. I like to refer to it as your original care-providing environment, and where you got the matrix laid down a bit as to who you're supposed to be or how you acquire safety and connection, which are so important to you, to everybody. They're important to us as a primal being. So in yoga therapy, we're looking to understand what is in that undercurrent, because it's operating little currents in our daily life. And sometimes it operates a tsunami in our daily life, or it is the current that is pushing us into addiction or compulsivity or anxiety or depression. It's giving us flickers of people's facial expressions that are quickly interpreted by the limbic brain, not by the neocortex, and the interpretation rushes biochemistry into the forms of fight or flight, or freeze, submit. Fight and flight then become your sympathetic nervous system, like that, and freeze, submit becomes the dorsal vagal nervous system, falling down and in, becoming bereft or despondent or deflated. You can think of sympathetic as inflated and dorsal vagal as deflated, and ventral vagal, which is our optimal hum for the nervous system, think of ventral vagal as just properly inflated, enough vitality, enough sense of self. In that ventral vagal state, at the center of the teeter-totter, these 6 stations are balanced. We have a healthy sense of self. We have healthy relationships. We have a healthy relationship to our aversions, potentially noting those as our clear boundaries about things. For example, an aversion to loud sound, which my concussion definitely had. So how I set up my life to not overdo the exposure to loud sounds, for example. In the healthy sense, we may also know what our healthy desires are. Rather than it being addictive or compulsive, we have a healthy sense of the priorities we can set for the day. So those balance. And then we also have a healthy relationship to past, recognizing that from which we have learned, that from which we are motivated to grow, and also our ability to keep learning from our past. And we have a healthy relationship to future. Can we wisely chaperone ourselves to move to a future that expresses our values and our dharma and lets us sit in that ventral vagal perspective on life, which is really an inherently compassionate, forgiving, and generous perspective. The ventral vagal is when you're in your best yogi self. You're feeling that it's coming through you biochemically, and you're like walking down the street realizing, oh, I sense everyone and everything, and all that has been and all that will be. And it's all sort of shimmering and flowing through you, but you're not conjuring it, you're not orchestrating it, you're not choreographing anything, you're in the flow, as we say. So a yoga practice is to help bring us to that balanced state where the teeter-totter of the 6 stations of the mind is not problematic, it's not apunya, it's not causing dukkha or suffering. It's also not pursuing punya, the pleasant. It's not grasping for sukha, the easeful, but it comes into a place of balance. So what we'll do are 3 short practices, each about 20 minutes, looking at dorsal vagal reflexes, which is when we pull down and in again, and we can be very collapsed, and that might be a very painful past or a frightening future. We don't want to go to tomorrow or to work. We don't feel comfortable there. We end up succumbing to this collapsed state. We get frozen or immobilized. Painful past can be many things, but often in that reaction to painful past, shrinking was a better option than inflating. So deflating might have been better, pruning back, getting quieter, taking up less space might have been the better option for somebody. In dorsal vagal collapse, we also are not connected to the neocortex. We don't have a self, we don't have an other. Self and other are not really registering. Other might be frightening, other might be overwhelming, and there isn't really a strong sense of self in terms of an integrated self, but there might be a shame-filled self there. In terms of likes and dislikes, those are pretty well toned down to just a few options of what's going to keep the system sedated. So dorsal vagal nerve fibers are here in the lower part of the spine. This is according to Deb Dana's teachings on polyvagal theory and her work in psychotherapy, which is she's worth looking into. Her books and her teachings are really helpful. If you have questions or comments, please do leave those down below the video. I look forward to hearing from you. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do that as well. Thank you very much. Namaste.